wait, I'm darker than everyone else. I'm different.
Hi, what is your name?
Niku Reza Sager.
Amy Vagnan.
Sophia Lionel.
Gabrielle Vonnegut.
Just African American.
Middle Eastern Persian.
I would say that I'm half Nigerian, half Indian.
Moroccan Jewish.
I identify as half black, half Indian.
My dad is German and my mom is Mexican.
That's a good question. I guess the same.
Middle Eastern Persian.
British.
Definitely both as well, for sure. Moroccan and Jewish culture.
As an LA girl.
Culturally it's kind of difficult. I can't just like pick one and be like I'm this specifically, so I'm both.
I feel like since a young age, like in preschool, I remember one of my friends, or I don't remember this exactly, but my mom told me this as I got older because apparently I went and told her. But one of my friends told me, you can't come to my birthday party because you're too dark. And
That's crazy.
And then I told my mom that, and she was obviously like visibly upset. And that was like the first time I was aware, like, oh wait, I'm darker than everyone else. I'm different.
For me, it was something that I was honestly brought up in. I've always been aware that I was Persian/Iranian since I was born. It's the language that was spoken in the house. It was something that I was so immersed in, it's my heritage.
When I was 9 years old and called the N-word when I went to Temple, which is supposed to be my sacred place. And before that, I never thought that there was anything strange about me being both Indian and Nigerian. It was just the norm to me because my parents had never made me feel otherwise, and my family had never made me feel otherwise. When I was in the playground playing with a bunch of the Indian children, they didn't understand why I was at the temple because they couldn't conceptualize that I could be both black and Indian and black and Hindu. So one of the boys who was older than me, he was 12, asked if he could call me the N-word, and I didn't know what it meant, so I said yeah. And I went back into the temple and I told my mom that he'd given me a nickname. That was my nickname, and my mom burst out into tears and told me that it was a nasty word and that me being called that was not a good thing. So I went outside and I chased him into the woods with sticks. I told him not to call me the N-word ever again. I think that's when I think back to the first instance where I realized that I was different and that my differences were perceived by others to not necessarily be a good thing. But that's not how I perceive myself now.
As a kid, my mom made it very aware, and then also in school, you become more aware of that, and also just being in a school surrounded by others like me made me more aware, so that was nice.
Probably when I was in kindergarten and I realized that everyone else used skin-colored crayons as like peach or whatever, and I had to use the brown crayons and there weren't really that many of them.
So I went to like a primarily white Catholic elementary and middle school, 4th to 8th grade, and when we would have lunches and like snacks, like my peers around me would have like their fucking Uncrustables and their sandwiches and their like cute little leftovers from last night. No, bitch, I had burritos. I would not eat because I'd pull out like this stinky ass burrito.
I feel like it's made me very insecure and like aware of things, of how I present myself in the world. Like I feel like I can't do certain things or be a certain way because of race. Like if I act out a certain way, it's not going to be perceived as like as a white woman or what they would do. So I feel like it's made me very like self-conscious and like insecure and like focused on every little thing, like scrutinizing myself to like not be a black stereotype.
The beauty standards, the Western beauty standards, are honestly, in a sense, similar to Persian beauty standards. There's two kinds of Persian people. There are the very fair-skinned ones, and there's the tanner ones with the bolder features. I was a mixture of both. And for me, I mean, growing up, Most of my family had the smaller features. I'd say I had more of the bolder features. So, I mean, growing up, it definitely had some kind of impact on me. My nose is my biggest insecurity. And in order to conform to Western or Eurocentric standards, I had to get, what made me culturally different removed. And that was getting my nose done.
Well, I think in the digital age, it's pretty difficult to not allow Eurocentric standards and values even to impact you in any capacity. I went to a mostly white, predominantly white school, and it was a girls' school, so it was really difficult for me to fit in because I wasn't white. And when we talked about typical teenage things, relationships, friendships, I always wished I was white because it came easier to my white friends than it did me. And being on social media and seeing that the standards always led back to Eurocentric standards, it's really difficult to grapple with your self-image and self-confidence, self-assurance, self-worth when everybody tells you that the prettiest girl in the playground, at the party, is white.
Absolutely. They're so heavily deep-rooted in all of us, and I feel like I definitely would be more confident in my ethnic features and my natural hair and so many other things that come into play. And also, it's not only about looks as well, although that is a big part. It's also in the way we act and carry ourselves. A lot of, like, all these topics, they all kind of, like, there's always a standard that has to do with Eurocentrism, being the role model for it.
I would say it kind of makes me a bit more self-conscious as a person. Like, when I was younger, I'd find myself at points wishing I was white so I could get that same kind of privilege that they do.
Like, girls in my class would have like blue eyes and like blonde hair, and I was like pretty much like brown eyes and brown hair, so I would like watch subliminals for blue eyes. I wanted it so bad. Like, I just had like an obsession with like the white beauty standards because like I was white and I was like, girl, why didn't I get this?
In my views as my own culture growing up as like shameful almost, as something to be embarrassed about. Like even my hair, like my mom would always do my hair in certain hairstyles, but she would kind of straighten it sometimes to make it closer to whiteness, I guess, or like straighten her hair or wear wigs or whatever. And I feel like that just made me think, oh, this is my natural way of being like black is shameful in a way.
They conform to American standards or Western standards or Eurocentric standards in business, they would not go by their birth names, their Iranian birth names. Both of my parents in life, when they meet new people, whenever they do any business dealings, they go by their American names, which are spin-offs of their cultural Persian names, but just to be more accepted and to be taken more seriously, they had to do that.
I never ever had that. My dad, growing up, he used to oil my hair every night, and my mum used to wash and detangle my hair because they wanted me to be proud of the fact that I was biracial and British.
I feel as though now, like seeing her work with white people and like kind of a white dominated field, I can definitely see, I guess her putting on a fake accent to sound more American when she's speaking on the phone to be taken more seriously. That's something for sure I see now.
Yes, my mother found that it was better to conform, especially as a businesswoman. She felt it was better to blend in with the crowd than like stand out as a person, which is why, like for my brother or my sister, she would say that if you're going to be going into business, maybe don't be so loud in your culture.
Girl, my mom is Mexican. Like, her parents only speak Spanish. They're literally like straight from Mexico. And you know, she did her thing. She married a white man. Good for her. I'm proud of her, you know.
I feel like in art, like in a lot of fashion as well, anything creative really in music, like I feel like people of all races are very creative, but I feel like black people have such a good way of expressing themselves and their own struggles and like personal issues that are like really just about being black and like the black experience.
I take pride in my heritage by honoring my grandparents and my family with the way they were living life in Iran. Whenever I share stories, I like to kind of shed light on my background because I feel like I like to know about people's backgrounds and I like people to know about my background. I'm really proud of my background. I'm really proud of my family. I'm really proud of my grandparents for all that they accomplished.
I take pride in my heritage is through culture and connecting to my heritage through culture, looking at music, films, food, pop culture, and foreign affairs, current affairs in my countries of origin. Those are ways that being so far away from those countries, I still feel deeply connected to them. And also just recognizing that like there are subcultures to my culture. I'm black, I'm British, and I'm black, British and Indian. So I'm a British Indian, and I am a British Nigerian. We have our own subculture too, and I think that's like the beauty of heritage and how heritage can travel and adapt, and the beauty of how culture adapts too.
It's kind of hard to be prideful with this due to, I guess, things in the name of where I come from. Like I don't know. I guess I take pride in the fact that I take the good parts of my culture and run with that and celebrate those things rather than the wrongs that I was taught growing up.
Celebrating like Indian events when we were kids, we would do there's this event called Holi, which is the celebration of color, and we would do something like that. Or for Indian Independence Day, we would get a bunch of Indian food and celebrate as a family.
My mom, she's been writing and she's been protesting for the Hispanics and trying to make a stand for our culture. Yeah, our culture on that side. It's nice to see her be involved and actually doing something for it.
For sure, it definitely would. Like I feel like I struggled a lot with being a black woman like my whole life, but especially like when I was younger in middle school, like people would be so racist and say the N-word all the time and make racist jokes, and it caused me to have a lot of anxiety and do things and act a certain way that I just felt very suppressed and I couldn't be myself. It gave me a lot of mental health issues from a very young age and a lot of anxiety about the way I am perceived in the world and walk through the world and how people are going to treat me. And I feel like with every aspect of my life, like friends, dating, school, like everything is kind of my race is involved with everything I do almost. Like I feel like it's very prevalent in my life, even if I don't want it to be. Like I kind of live my life with like rose colored glasses, so I'm not always thinking about my race, but
I'm so proud of where I come from. Not for the bad of it, but for a long time what it was. And that's what I represent. And that's what I'm trying to shed light for people to understand. I'm so proud that even with all that's going on, I I still embrace who I am. It's who I am to my core. It's my parents' motherland, my mom being born in Tehran, my dad being born in Shiraz. So honestly, with or without, I would still be who I am, just proud of where I come from.
Yes and no. I think it's difficult because again, I also am not African American, and I think culturally, societies operate differently from place to place, from England to America. I think race is perceived as a totally different structure here. Um, and I also, my parents are both first generation immigrants, so they actually, my mum didn't grow up in India. My mum grew up in Kenya before she moved to England, so she grew up in a predominantly black society, and my dad grew up in Nigeria for the first 14 to 18 years of his life. So I think for me, because I don't come from countries where white supremacy is perceived in the same way as it is in America. And I don't think we have half of the hardships that African Americans have. We have hardships, but they're reflected in different ways. And the hardships are rooted in colonialism, but again, different kinds of struggles. So for me, I don't think I'm an accurate enough, I'm the right person to ask that kind of question. Because for me, I feel like I already operate mentally in a society that isn't conforming to white supremacy or white supremacist ideals. My dad always believed in Pan-Africanism, and so does my mother. They're big advocates of Pan-Africanism, but not in the way that Dr. Umar or someone like that would present it. More so, it's just my dad believes that the African continent should come together and Africans should come together to build Africa as a society. And my mum feels the same way, particularly about India and Africa. So yeah, I would say I'm really fortunate that I don't think I operate in that kind of society mentally too. But I would say being realistic and rational and living here, yeah, we probably all would be different. But it's a difficult question to answer because it's a question that is complex. It's hard to imagine that kind of society because the fact that we're even here is a result of white supremacy and colonialism. So I suppose when you look at it, you'd have to go back thousands, not even thousands, sorry, hundreds of years to really be able to answer
white supremacy.
Absolutely. It has such an impact, just our daily lives, just even scrolling. There is this crazy standard that all leads back to Eurocentrism. Is that a word? Yeah. Okay. That all leads back to that, with how to look and how to present yourself and how to act.
With my mom's side, it's awkward and kind of like a sense of paranoia with that side of my family because of what is happening right now. Like some of my family cut that.
If I was a white girl, like obviously I wouldn't have that struggle. I'd just be able to be free and not have to worry about that. So yeah, sometimes I do wonder like what would it be like if I was white? But you know what? I'm me and that's beautiful.